Hi everyone, and welcome to the My PGT in 3 showcase from the University Graduate School. So you might have seen some of the exciting work of postgraduate researchers throughout the Research Festival, but what research have our postgraduate taught students been working on? My PGT in 3 is a competition developed by the University Graduate School to shine a spotlight on the innovative, unique and significant research being done by PGT students as part of their dissertations and special projects. PGT, if you don't know, stands for Postgraduate Taught and covers master's students and those on PG certificate courses, PG affiliate courses and PG diplomas. So across all 5 colleges, we invited students to make a 3-minute video about their research with 3 slides to communicate their subject area and field, their research question and their research project to an interdisciplinary audience of non-specialists. Many of these projects will be supporting students going into their respective industries and going into further study, with some even forming the basis of a funded doctoral project. All of them have real-world impact on issues such as politics, industry, medicine, education, social justice, and climate change. We're really excited to be sharing these videos with you today. It's our inaugural competition, and at the end of the video, I'll be announcing our inaugural winners. So I'd like to say thank you to all PGT students who entered the competition, our wonderful shortlist, and our judges. And without further ado, here is the shortlist of My PGT in 3 2021.
The COVID-19 pandemic has uncovered many problems in both education and society related to the online world that we live in today. But this is not just a pandemic-inspired research study. It gets much deeper than this. After having taught in secondary schools for 5 years, I really began to question the purposes of education and how that translated into the realities of modern day schooling. The MA Education course introduced me to great thinkers such as Bourdieu, Dewey, and Vygotsky, who dabbled with similar questions. It really expanded my learning beyond the regimented day-to-day logistics of getting by a school day to wider concepts such as alternative approaches to education. So the importance of education in society and for democracy goes without question, but what the course really allowed me to do is to explore why there are many failures in schooling and education systems across the globe. My own research interests revolve around the role that the internet has to play in secondary school pupils' learning. Taking a comparative approach, I explore secondary school teachers' views and experiences of pupils learning using the internet across the United Kingdom and the United Arab Emirates. Key questions that I have are related to the changing views and experiences due to the current pandemic, but also to key concepts such as self-directed learning and cultivating pupils' attention. Now, due to the multidisciplinary nature of education, I took a mixed methods approach, especially with the internet focus. So I interviewed 9 teachers from different schools across the UK and the UAE and created a questionnaire from the emerging interview themes and from the initial questions that I had. The problem of access to hardware, software, and technological know-how was an important one. Addressing this and providing training for staff and pupils are likely to be significant recommendations from this study. Training, not just on the pragmatics of using the internet for learning, but onto essential concepts if we are to improve the educational experiences in the internet age. The key concepts are online self-directed learning and the cultivation of pupils' attention and focus when learning. Thank you.
Would you buy this? How much would you pay for it? With increasing demands on limited resources, health economics is all about how to make decisions on what services we should provide and to whom. Our aim is to maximise benefit from the resources we have available and share them out as fairly as possible. We ask ourselves questions such as, what is health? How do we value it? And who needs healthcare the most? For example, should this new drug for a rare cancer be funded? Or should we fund a district nurse to visit your grandmother instead? I'm sure you've heard of the NHS, but how is healthcare funded in other countries around the world? We also study this and how we can ensure people have access to it without having to spend all their savings. As a doctor, I see firsthand the consequences of these difficult decisions, and I thought, why let them have all the fun of making these decisions? Digital technology is one potential solution to widening access to healthcare whilst sticking to a budget. There are many different types, from smartphone apps to implants that can remotely monitor your vital signs and feed them back to your doctor. You may have noticed that during the COVID pandemic, a lot of healthcare professionals stopped seeing patients face-to-face. Did you have a telephone appointment with your GP? Or maybe you were directed to a website. Did you find it just as effective? Economic evaluation underpins efficiency choices in healthcare and is a way of comparing resources or inputs and benefits or outputs of different options. There are different types of evaluation that take into account different costs and benefits, but nobody agrees on how to measure the value of digital technologies in healthcare. So how can we give them a value and decide whether they are worth funding? And yes, you guessed it, my dissertation is about trying to answer that question with particular attention to the field of sexual health. I believe digital technology has the potential to make a big impact in this area, as sexual health concerns all of us, so there is a lot of demand, and also people are often reluctant to come forward in person, so would benefit from private access to sexual health services. Have you ever been advised to go and get checked out but didn't? Although there are a lot of good ideas out there, such as home test kits for chlamydia or an app that reminds you to take your HIV medication, we don't know whether they really save money compared to going to see your doctor face to face. And I'm all about saving money. There's a lot of money in the NHS at the moment for digital health technology, so let's make sure we fund the right ones.
I want you to look at these posters. Which one is most attractive to you? I don't know the answer, but for Chinese consumers, the second is the most successful one. You may feel confused why a man can endorse a lipstick. Before explaining that, I want to talk about my first time seeing the poster on the left. I was impressed by her beautiful lips. It makes me imagine that I will look as elegant as her when I use the lipstick. So I buy it. That's how celebrity endorsement works. There are two main factors that determines whether the consumer wants to buy the product. Firstly, if the endorsers are attractive, credible, and professional, they are more likely to convince the consumer. Also, these characteristics need to match up with the product. For example, Angelina Jolie can endorse a lipstick, but may not be able to endorse a laptop. However, not all cosmetic brands choose the right endorser. Shiseido, a Japanese brand, chose a Chinese actor for its commercial. He's popular and handsome. But that's the weirdest advertisement I've ever seen. So, why Galam succeeded but Shiseido messed up? That's what my research aims to find out. So, I introduce the third factor and categorize the male endorser into two types, the boyfriend type and the girlfriend type. As you can see from the second poster, the boyfriend endorser is more masculine. He doesn't use the product. The product is usually promoted as a must-have for the consumers. On the other hand, the guy-friend endorser on the third poster, he uses the product. You can tell from his smoky eye. He acts as a close friend and promotes the product in a professional way. My hypothesis is that both types will build a close relationship with the consumers and then enhance the matchup level and the credibility, which I mentioned before. This will provide important implications for international brands. It helps to have a better understanding of the local consumers and then choose the right endorser. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Marie and I'm studying the industrial barriers in the UK, focusing on upcycling plastic waste. Did you know that only 9% of the world's recycled materials are actually being recycled? Are you also aware that scientists have shockingly found an unhealthy amount of microplastics within fetuses? There are many more of these upsetting facts caused by plastic pollution. My research starts by introducing the concept of circular economy, which is basically an opposite approach to linear economy, by repurposing old products to elongate a material's lifetime. Although there are companies implementing this method to reduce waste, it's still a relatively new idea and often not used in bigger corporations. Therefore, I hope to investigate into what's stopping them from adopting sustainable programs, especially with the escalating and alarming environmental concerns. I'm particularly interested in this field because I truly believe that every little effort counts when it comes to saving our planet, whether it be limiting meat consumption to minimize carbon footprints or bring containers to restaurants to avoid unnecessary single-use plastics. With my special interest in sustainability, I found out about the Birmingham Plastics Network at the university, and if you've never heard of it, it's a group of researchers collaborating towards the same goal, to find solutions to reduce or replace chemically harmful plastics. You should check it out. This is why I'm dedicated to applying my academic knowledge from both engineering and management to incorporate technology with business, in hopes of making major improvements to the environment and reducing negative impacts. These are just some articles out of thousands and millions of trusted resources addressing our plastic crisis, and clearly there's so much more that we can do to solve the problem, especially with collaborative efforts across industries. That's why I've arrived at my research topic of studying the industrial barriers encountered by businesses in the UK, with focuses on the method of upcycling plastic waste. Upcycling means transforming old materials, typically non-biodegradable waste, into new products. A common example is having a bottle made from 100% recycled plastic, which can then be recycled again to repeat the same project's lifetime. In order to do this, some companies have rolled out schemes where customers can return plastic waste back to them, so that they can process the materials again for the brand new product. As you may be aware, not a lot of people are knowledgeable about this industry, so I'm looking to find out more about the obstacles encountered by these businesses. And this research is important as it uncovers truthful insights into the sector, which could potentially influence more companies to do so. The most effective way to gain insights is by distributing design questionnaires to sustainable businesses in the UK. Alongside analysing responses, I'm also exploring the area using journal articles and other reliable sources. My current results include statistics of the negative impacts caused by the plastic pollution around the world, and this research is significant as I'll be addressing the challenges or barriers faced by people in the industry, which could then be seen as a guide for future businesses. I also hope to inspire others to adopt upcycling plastic waste approach to contribute to tackling the plastic waste in the UK, as well as influencing the sustainability field and the entire world. Thank you for listening. I hope you found this informative and raise awareness of the plastic crisis.
Think of your favourite teacher from your school days. I'm sure that you remember their enthusiasm and energy that inspired you to achieve your full potential. Perhaps their wisdom and advice have shaped your career path or life choices. But what if I told you many teachers like them, empowering today's young people, are turning their back on the classroom every year? Despite the government's Get Into Teaching campaign, as seen in this image, many are in fact looking to get out of teaching just a short time after joining the profession. According to statistics from the Department for Education, there just aren't enough teachers in England to keep up with increasing student numbers. As a teacher myself, I've seen the teacher shortage worsening in secondary schools, especially in my field of modern languages. In 2018, the Department for Education said that only 56% of modern languages teachers were still working within 5 years of qualifying. So what is causing dedicated, driven and determined teachers to change their minds and wave goodbye to teaching? We can now see research that suggests there is no single factor that accounts for teachers in general leaving the profession. Various reasons could lie behind the teacher exodus, scholars have suggested, including increasing workload or a lack of support from school leadership. But what's the situation in modern languages? What I'm interested in is investigating the story behind the statistics by considering the experiences of early career modern languages teachers from a range of backgrounds. What has shaped their perceptions of teaching to date and their motivations to remain or leave the profession? By exploring their sense of agency and identity, I intend to shed light on the ways that we could retain motivated languages teachers who continue to enhance the life opportunities of our young people year after year. Following an initial questionnaire, I interviewed a sample of teachers that had illustrated contrasting experiences in their early careers. I'm now analysing those responses thematically, and my emerging finding is that one size certainly doesn't fit all. Teachers' experiences vary widely and depend largely on their school's culture. I'm finding so far, as we can see here, that feeling valued increases languages teachers' motivation. In my field, my research will add to the discussion around promoting language learning and valuing modern languages teachers. And on a wider scale, my research could influence initiatives that ensure we maintain high standards of teaching and initial teacher training in English schools. How can we ensure excellent outcomes for our young people if there won't be anyone left to inspire them? Remember your favourite teacher?
So my project is a rapid evidence review of the health and social effects of menstrual hygiene management in high-income countries. There is a limited body of evidence which suggests that bacterial vaginosis may be more common in women with unhygienic menstrual hygiene management practices. And there is also evidence to suggest that using tampons, particularly if women leave them in for longer than recommended by manufacturers, can increase the risk of toxic shock syndrome. And this may be being done if women are facing financial challenges to purchase menstrual products. So a possible hypothesis is that due to financial constraints, poor menstrual hygiene management practices may be being used, leading to poorer health and social outcomes. So I was particularly interested in locating studies conducted in high-income countries, especially the UK, and I looked at any method of menstrual hygiene management and behaviour. And the impact that I'm making on my field is that it's clear that in order to attain menstrual hygiene management, you need access to clean water, you need access to laundry facilities, and it's clear that not all women have access to this. Homeless women and incarcerated women, they face extra challenges to manage their period hygienically and with dignity. And I'm hoping that this research will lead to more inclusive environments being created considering everyone's needs. The needs of low-income populations in so-called rich countries may be being overlooked because it's assumed that there's a system of welfare to prevent destitution and to assist women on their periods so that, no matter their financial circumstances, everyone can manage their period hygienically and with dignity. But it's clear that this is not the case. I consider myself to be quite a privileged person, and even here in the university accommodation, sanitary waste disposal has not been taken into account when designing the ensuite bathrooms. So it just shows you that it's not something that's always considered, and it should be.
Imagine we are the CEO of a pharmaceutical multinational corporate in China. From the left table, we can clearly see that we have achieved remarkable performance so far. And surprisingly, the patent cliff, as the right figure explained, has not demonstrated in the Chinese medical market. Unfortunately, this unique benefit was defeated by the new volume procurement policy since 2019, and the price war between the original drugs and genetic drugs are starting. In this fierce war, the price reduction is as high as even 93%. And the Chinese market is so essential that we cannot ignore. So how can we adjust our strategy to maintain the sustainable prosperity? Well, I have worked in the pharmaceutical industry for more than 10 years, including multinational corporates and domestic companies. My study intends to provide feasible reference suggestions for multinational corporates in China based on both theory and case analysis, and it would answer following questions as this slide shows. 5 questions. Finally, I would like to highlight this study would critically discuss both multinational corporates and their competitors' strategy by case study 3 typical pharmaceutical giants, by gathering perspective from 20 senior executives. So it could provide practical value for the development of multinational corporates in China. Furthermore, according to my interviews so far, the multinational corporates are suggested to continue to upgrade the localization strategy in China. Finally, there are 3 main tactics and the new policy for them to consider. The first one is to cut costs. The second one is to develop multi-channels. The third one is to introduce innovative drugs as soon as possible.
Hello, my dissertation title is Why Political Leaders Go Toxic, a case study analysis of Donald Trump. Donald Trump's surprising election victory in November 2016 signaled a major shift in Western domestic governance and foreign policy. It has subsequently been linked to a series of unexpected election upsets attributed to radical right-wing populist leaders in Europe, and it is also associated with the rise of strongman populist leaders all over the world. Such leaders are connected in their willingness to subvert liberal institutions and contravene democratic norms, and their approaches to governance have been described as reckless, counterproductive, and even toxic for society. As such, public policy professor Jean Lippman-Blumen's conceptual framework of toxic leadership, although primarily situated within the business academic literature and largely overlooked within the field of political science, is helpful for understanding the dynamics behind why political leaders go toxic. The research question of the study is as follows. Is it pertinent to consider former US President Donald Trump a toxic leader? The intention of the study is to shed light on the dynamics behind why some political leaders abuse their position of authority in a way that is ultimately harmful to society by applying the conceptual framework of toxic leadership to a case study significant to political science. As Heppel, 2011 identifies, definitional, situational, and contextual problems arise when applying the concept of toxicity to political leadership. However, these concerns can be addressed when the conceptual framework of toxic leadership is applied through the lens of specific political science concepts. Of particular relevance to this study are ideas of perennial tyranny, in which tyranny is understood as a recurring problem in history which can be used to understand leadership in the modern world. Related concepts directly attributable to contemporary leadership research, including authoritarianism, populism, strongman leadership, and toxic masculinity, can then follow, serving as a foundation for the application of the conceptual framework of toxic leadership to political leadership. In addition, toxic leadership must also be put in context to be properly understood, and in order to do this, this study will apply the conceptual framework of toxic leadership to the case study of former US President Donald Trump. Thank you for listening.
Dear Professor and fellow students, my name is Dan Zhang. I'm a student from business school and I'm currently studying MSc International Business. Today my speech is about Digital marketing in the era of COVID-19, the implications for global marketers. To begin with the impact of COVID-19 pandemic worldwide, the unified channels and customer service are more important than ever. The closure of non-essential business due to the lockdown procedures has greatly shifted consumers' shopping behaviors from traditional ones to digital channels. The traditional 4P marketing theory is limited to current situation. The evolutionary approach based on customer value-driven theory requires global marketers to take urgent measures to adopt to digital transformation in order to maintain the marketing key performance indicators so as to stabilize the business performance in uncertain crisis. Under such context, the aim for this research is essential. The research questions are to identify the challenges and opportunities in digital marketing under the context of COVID-19 when companies facing unprecedented uncertainties. The objectives are to find out which digital marketing channels are most effective in era of COVID-19 to provide guidance and implications for global marketers to transform their products and services more efficiently and effectively in digital marketing disciplines, to build new ways of communicating with customers at a massive digital scale, to help companies pivot to more digital, agile towards next normal post-crisis. In order to answer the above questions, qualitative data is applied from two aspects, the primary data and the secondary data. The primary data related to customer online activities will be collected through online survey. Semi-structured interviews sampling 25 to 50 will be conducted to investigate the challenges and potential risks for companies across various industries facing digital transition needs. Secondary data collected from archival data are based on systematic literature reviews in the field. My dissertation is important as it matters to all companies' engagement with their customers and provide guidance to global marketers. It also suggests future research to tackle those challenges.
Thank you all for watching, and I'm sure you'll join me in saying well done to all of our shortlist. It's so exciting to see the research being done by PGTs at Birmingham, and even more so to see how passionate our shortlist are about what they do and the real-world impact their projects have. Congratulations to all of them, and best wishes in completing their dissertations and special projects. While the judges were impressed by every single one on our shortlist, as I'm sure you'll agree, I do have some prizes and winners to share. So first of all is our college winners, each worth £50. For the College of Engineering and Physical Sciences, Marie Law. For the College of Life and Environmental Sciences, Chandni Patel. For the College of Social Sciences, Siki Jin. And for the College of Medical and Dental Sciences, Josephine Holt. Congratulations to all of our college winners. And finally, our overall first, second and third place prizes. Congratulations to Josephine Holt, who wins third place along with her college winners prize. To James Pepiat for winning second place and £100. And finally, a huge congratulations to our overall first place winner, Emily Greatback. I have to give a special congratulations to Emily because her video was chosen unanimously by our judges for its professional flair, clear explanations and creative presentation. So well done, Emily. Congratulations to all of our winners again, and thank you very much to all of you for joining us today. I hope you have enjoyed My PGT in 3 2021 and will join us for the rest of the festival's fascinating and original events celebrating postgraduate research at the University of Birmingham.